you are from the time when technology was not too high, it was a driver who was driving the car. Today's time wherein the technology is also high.
The machine is far more superior, engine superior, more power coming out of a small engine. At a core level, even today, it is the driver. I mean, yes.
Now, what kind of a transition that you have seen in terms of the role, the involvement, or dependency on the FMSCI?
You know, in India, it has never been recognized as a true sport.
But why FMSCI is not taking steps to make it at a global level? Why can't they invite corporates and say that, okay, we are organizing this and this is what the mileage that you'll get, because corporate wants mileage.
Its mandate is to ensure safety, regulate regulations, and ensure fair play.
So if I'm a driver, if I'm an event organizer, where should I get or where can I get those structures what you're talking about?
Website is there. Every regulation is there on the website.
Okay. I'm just taking you as a person who is driving and participating, and you know the steward and the personal level also. So will he be more inclined towards your side?
The steward is also under the same guidelines as you are. He is also referring to the same sporting regulations that you are referring to.
Why FMSCI is not maintaining that kind of data that, okay, Mr. Raj Kapoor has been with these many years?
The organizer is also not a professional event organizer.
Have been planning and designing the tracks. How do you define a good track?
Whatever I have learned over the years and read over the years is that the track should be such that it is challenging for all.
Welcome back to the show. I am your host Ankit Dua on Motors No Limit, and the show on which we deep dive into the different elements of motorsports. Today's guest is a person who has seen the evolution of motorsports in India. His first podium was 1985, the year in which I was just 5 years actually. Since then, he has been everywhere on the motorsports. He has been participating in rallies. He has been everywhere in the motorsports in India. He has been participating in the rallies. He has been upgrading the cars and making cars ready for the rallies. He had been a track designer and also part of the association or organization who is governing the motorsports in India, which is FMSCI. So it's not just been on the track or helping the people on the track, but he had been an anchor who has been covering lot of automobile related elements. He has been a writer, writing columns since the ages. And now let's introduce Mr. Raj Kapoor, and we will ask him what exactly now he is doing at the moment and what are the new things that he is into. So welcome to the show, Raj sir.
Thank you, Ankit.
Hope you are doing good. So let's start from what exactly I've given the introduction. So what exactly that you're doing now, sir?
Well, my current role in the motorsport space is in the administration and regulation of the sport. So I'm a director with the federation, which is essentially Federation of Motorsports Clubs in India. And in addition to that, I still follow my passion of building competition cars and off-road machines and generally have fun.
You're part of few of the motorsports associations also. Can you just share those also, sir, like Northern Motorsports and others?
So I'm a co-founder with Northern Motorsport and Extreme Sports Organization. These are two organizations which kind of straddle both the spaces. One is hardcore competition motorsport. Northern Motorsport does that. It has the IP of Rally Desert Storm and the annual autocross for I think 20 years now.
Okay.
And Extreme Sports Organization is essentially in the space of adventure motoring. So our thought was that while everyone aspires to be a motorsport athlete, not everyone can manage to to be that.
Okay.
It's an expensive sport and requires a fair bit of financial backing to kind of continue in that space for a while. But everybody likes to travel, everybody likes to drive. So, Extreme Sports Organization got into this space of curated driving experiences.
Okay.
So, we've worked with Mahindra over the last 15 odd years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We curate their experiential marketing programs where you have a set number of cars which go through a very organized and planned itinerary and experience different parts of India, experience the vehicle, experience how to drive that through challenging terrain,
Okay.
all in a very organized manner with service support, medical support, experienced mentors who tell you and teach you how to tackle different terrains, how to understand what the vehicle can do, and make you a better driver.
Perfect. So you have seen a complete change in the motorsports arena. So
Absolutely.
84, what I know, was your first podium, but when did you started getting into it, and what was the trigger point?
So, I grew up in Calcutta,
Okay.
and Calcutta had a very vibrant motoring scene in the late 70s, early 80s. So, motorcycling had evolved into recreational riding as well. It was not
Okay.
just a tool for work
For transport or
or a transportation tool where you used it to go from point A to point B. And even in those days, there was a influx of imported motorcycles and or iconic motorcycles. So we
can you share a few of the names because
so the there were Gixxers then also, Suzuki Gixxers. There were Honda VT twins,
okay.
and there was the phenomenal TZ 350 Yamaha.
Okay.
So
When did Yazdi came into the picture?
so Yazdi was there, but
Yeah.
it wasn't. It was what people like us bought.
Okay.
The aspirational machines were those. So the haves of that time had those machines, and people like us, we had the Yezdis and the Bullets, and so at that time I used to have a Bullet, and it was modified to the extent that the modification elements were twice the cost of the bike.
Okay.
So it had a Marzucci racing front fork. It had so 1984, 83. I had Brembo disc brakes on the bike where there were no disc brakes in the vicinity of Bullets at that point in time.
Okay.
And as far as production machine goes, and I had a CBR 750 racing full fairing on it, and so it was an involved scene. And while we didn't have the roads that Delhi had, but we did manage to do some interesting stuff then. And that is what kind of funneled my passion to this space, and I just kept at it. And
Okay. So are you engineer by background, by any chance?
so I have a diploma in automotive engineering,
Yeah. So now I can understand the modifications been done.
but in all fairness, learning on the job and learning because you're passionate about it helps you far more than let's say what that diploma did 40 years back. So we're so passionate about it that we would try and get literature or magazines. So you can imagine that 40 years back, there was very little knowledge
Yeah,
Today,
obviously there's
knowledge
no
is,
internet. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is overflowing out of your computer screen. But at that point in time, knowledge was very limited. If you wanted to do something like this, there was nothing in the conventional space. So one would try and get magazines. Now, at that time, each imported magazine was about 400 rupees or 300 rupees, which was
At that
astronomical.
time,
It
yeah.
was astronomical for anyone to, I mean,
I think
from
they
a
was
middle
not
class
printed in
background.
India. They were coming from.
So we would get 2-year-old magazines. And for us, 2-year-old technology, which was
Was
global,
new,
was new
unexplored.
and was cutting edge, as far as we were concerned. So we've come from that space where you had to really struggle to learn to understand what the world is doing at that point in time vis-a-vis what we were doing. So motorsport, or let's just say that even enthusiasts have evolved dramatically.
Okay.
Because today you have the net to give you unlimited amount of information. You have videos, and there is so much of what should I say, opportunity to absorb that by default you become far better. So for us, we would see a video of a competition motorcycle riding on a track and see the technique that was being used, and we would try and copy that,
Okay.
not understanding that the gentleman on the screen, here I'm talking about those VHS cassettes that we would get. So not understanding that that gentleman on the screen who's riding that bike is riding with soft tires which give exceptional grip. He's riding a state-of-the-art motorcycle of that time. He's wearing the requisite safety gear, helmets, boots, and then he's going knee out and taking the corner. And in our enthusiasm, we would try and replicate that, wearing shorts, no riding gear, and feel good about the fact that we could achieve maybe 30%,
30%.
40% of what he did. But today, even an entry level biker is aware of the fact that he should wear a quality helmet, a quality jacket which has the requisite protection, gloves, proper shoes. So there is a lot of evolution, change, understanding, intelligence that has come into play.
Okay. So, how was the feeling of being on the podium for the first time?
It's something that you'll never forget. So this was a Gymkhana event organized by Calcutta Motorsports Club
Okay.
and sponsored by Dunlop. So I remember that the MD was an expat. He and his wife were there giving us the trophies, and it was something that I had least expected. I didn't expect to win, and then suddenly you started to realize that maybe you have some talent. So it was an unforgettable moment in time.
So, what kind of a change have you seen in terms of the crowd which comes for the motorsports and as well as the competition? Because people now say, apart from the people like you, which have come from that tenure, nowadays it's more of a Instagram drivers than the enthusiast ones. So they want the photos to be clicked first and posted before even going on the track.
So that is, I think, a sad offshoot of what it should have been. But then it is what it is. See, earlier the aspiration of doing something in this space, because see, this is a very niche space, and traditionally our country has not been a country where motorsport was
Recognized.
encouraged.
Right.
It was always perceived as a elitist hobby slash sport. So there weren't enough opportunities to go and practice the sport and hone your craft. But today there are enough opportunities for first timers, entry level people. But the sad fact is that they find joy in just posing instead of consuming. So consumption would have meant that they would actually, experience the thrill that it offers. And trust me, the thrill, the adrenaline rush that you get is such a hook that you will go back. You will not, let it go
Let
after
it go in
one.
one ways.
You
Yeah,
will
yeah.
you will always return back. But it is what it is. In the sense, the society is evolving to a stage where uh, you want recognition by establishing a persona that may be true or untrue. So
I do agree because I've not been for long, but as the statement that you said, that once you go into any of the event, whether you're participating or not, but once moment you are behind the scene person, you are connected to it somewhere or the other.
yeah.
Now, you said that there's not too much of support from the government side, and you are part of a association which actually governs the motorsports in India. Now, what kind of a transition that FMSCI has seen since the time that you are part of it? Because once earlier you were a participant, now you are part of the association also. Now, what kind of a transition that you have seen in terms of the role, the involvement, or dependency on the FMSCI? That's the first part from the event point of the purview. And has government given you kind of a recognition in this tenure that now they are recognizing you as a proper entity? So can you just elaborate on that part?
So as an organization, the federation is essentially a group of people who have spent a substantial amount of time in the motorsport space and are now wanting to give back in whatever capacity they can. It's not a profit center. Your positions are all honorary. There are no monies that are paid for your time, your effort. It tries within its limited means to take care of the mandate that it has from the global body, the FIA, which is to promote, encourage, administer, regulate. It's unfortunate that in India, it has never been recognized as a true sport. While the government of India did recognize the federation as the official national motorsport body, of late there have been some changes in the sporting code, and we as a federation have to conform to those to retain the what should I say, the official status as a motorsport authority. But the difference between motorsport and other sports is that if you want to encourage, let's say, cricket in a local level, all you need to do is to create opportunity in different cricketing pitches. You could maybe help in improving the pitch, put in certain elements to ensure that crowd control is there, and you can encourage local level cricket. Same goes for soccer.
Absolutely.
But if you want to encourage local level motorsport, the infrastructure required is so huge that unless the government strategically wants to do this and puts its might behind it, it's not easy to create that infrastructure. Case in point is that the entire racing track or tracks that are there in this country are not government owned. They're all private entities.
Okay.
So if you do not have one government or state owned facility which can promote, create opportunity for first timers, and you throw that entire thing onto the private sector, then obviously there will be limited opportunities there. The number of tracks that we have today operational are 3.
Okay.
One is
Yes.
in Greater Noida,
Yeah.
one is in Chennai, and the other is in Coimbatore.
And they're all privately owned.
They're all privately owned. There are some more being made, but again, they are privately owned. There's one being made near Pune in Nanoli. There's another one being made in Bangalore. There's another one being made in Coimbatore.
Okay.
Now, all of these are private entities. The real estate requirement for this is so huge that the investment to put something up like this is phenomenal. And the return on investment is very poor.
Okay.
So it's a very complex scenario where it's an established fact that creating motorsport facilities, infrastructure is very expensive. Now, the only way this can be offset is if there's either state support, financially and otherwise, or there is a lot of corporate support.
Okay.
But sadly, this sport never could find favor with corporates in general. So if you look back over the last 20, 30 years, the only corporates that have consistently backed this sport are JK Industries and MRF. Maybe one or two small. Maruti, yes, but not. So Maruti took a different route.
Okay.
It said that it will sponsor or it will underwrite certain costs of the event per se.
Okay.
So let's say we had the intellectual property rights of the Rally Desert Storm. We built that up with Maruti as our sponsor.
Okay.
It underwrote the cost of setting up the entire rally. But it did not create a immovable facility where you could maybe test the vehicles or race the vehicles. It didn't go down that route because that's a far more expensive route to take. I mean, there's a capital expenditure to be made, and then so unless this entire ecosystem comes into play and each part or each element of that ecosystem supports this movement and helps each other, because if the corporate supports the event will happen, and it will happen in a far better manner. If the media supports the sport, it will work towards building up the event, the heroes, the opportunities there.
True.
So once that starts to happen, then other corporates will find this to be a exciting space to be in. But if this does not happen, because the sad part about rallying is that it's not a stadium sport. It's not happening in one place where you can easily film it,
Cover it and show
send it out there.
Yeah.
Rallying is such a complex event to cover that it requires huge budgets and it, unfortunately, in our case, cross country rallying, it runs in a linear format. It doesn't run in a contained. So let's say a regular rally will run around Chennai or Jodhpur. So the entire area of operation is, say, a radius of 20 kilometers or 30 kilometers. We in a cross-country rally space will run linear for 3,000 kilometers. Now, when you're going to run linear, if you're going to cover this rally, you need to have multiple teams which are running ahead of the rally, setting up the cameras, setting up the shooting points, and then doubling up, going further. So it's expensive,
complicated and
complex. It requires huge amount of resources. Now, that needs money. Money will come from either the state
corporates or the government.
corporates. If they are not there, then unlike internationally, where the sport, the sporting event can manage to run completely on subscription cost, where I design the event. If you wish to participate, you will pay a huge fee to participate because you will underwrite partially the cost of my preparation, my reconnaissance, my track building, my safety, and my media coverage. You will underwrite a part of that. So, let's say Dakar,
That,
you want to participate, you will pay close to 50,000 euros to participate. Then you will pay for your support, another 20,000 euros for a support car and a team to come along with you.
absolutely.
Then you will pay for your travel, your car. So if you want to build a car, it'll be anywhere from 100 to 200,000 euros
Okay. To participate
to
the
build a
level
car
of Dakar.
to participate at the level of. So that is the kind of figures you are seeing internationally. Vis-a-vis, come to India, you are going to pay 50,000 rupees and it will cover the cost of your entry, your stay. Now, in Dakar, you don't get no stay.
Okay.
You stay in a tent. Here, you will want to stay in a 5-star hotel. You'll want all your food, everything taken care of in 50,000 rupees. So now, unless somebody subsidizes the balance, it's not possible.
Got it.
So, we desperately need corporate sponsorship or corporate support. And we desperately need the media to project this as a viable means of communication for corporates to establish reliability, establish credentials, establish positioning, which is not being done currently.
So I've got a question for this thing, sir. So I'll divide my question in two parts. So FMSCI officials at the different levels, what I have been on the website and I've studied a bit. So it's spread throughout the India. And as you mentioned that there are a lot of people from the corporate side also into this, from the business side also into this complete structure of FMSCI. And there are a lot of, as you mentioned, the corporates are coming up now. So earlier it was the two only, as you mentioned. But why FMSCI is not taking steps to make it at a global level? Or maybe I'll not go to the global, but at the India level also, what is the role that FMSCI playing to the pointers that you said? Why can't they invite corporates and say that, okay, we are organizing this and this is what the mileage that you'll get? Because corporate wants mileage. Money is not a problem with the corporates.
So, in a simplistic
Yeah.
level, what you're saying makes sense. But see, the primary mandate of the federation or the FMSCI, as you call it, is not to look at the commercial end of the sport. That is not its mandate. Its mandate is to ensure safety, regulate regulations, and ensure fair play. And to some extent, do activities or create opportunities for newcomers to enter the sport. That is its primary mandate. And it does that. It creates a body of resources which have experience in various different formats of the sport. It creates commissions. each of those people form a group. That group could be experienced people, it could be, veteran uh, participants, it could be current participants, so that it gets all the data from various aspects and it tries to nurture that vertical. Ideally, if this was a far more commercial organization, it would have created a marketing department and hired, uh, you know, top marketing resources to try and sell this. Maybe what you say makes sense. It should do this, but that is not its expertise.
Got it.
Because the people who form the core of this organization, say somebody like me and many like me, they are all enthusiasts and athletes at some point, and now are wanting to help, regulate or administer the sport. They're not, finely honed sales and marketing minds. If the sport could generate more money, maybe one could look at that as
Element
as
has
in
been added as
added responsibility. That yes, because at the end of the day, अगर बिकेगा नहीं तो
बढ़ेगा नहीं.
बढ़ेगा नहीं, or its entire premise will be defeated. So, finances is a very, very important aspect to this. And let's just say that we are all trying to learn and understand how to balance the two. Because अगर हम the core group starts looking at profits and monies, then its ability to work completely in the enthusiast and pure sporting space does get compromised at some level. Okay, so currently it tries its best to structure this entire process.
Okay.
भाई आप आओ, you participate. We will create stringent guidelines के participation किस तरीके से होगा. The person who's doing the event, let's take for example a gymkhana or autocross. So there will be guidelines on what permissions to take. There will be guidelines on how to lay the track. Simple things, that it shouldn't be fast beyond a point. It should be technical, where you test the driving skill rather than the power of the car. Because
Makes sense.
a rich boy can buy a fast car, but he can't become a fast driver without. So balance the two. Design the track in a manner where it's safe, so that we will define that if you have a long straight, the turn after that should be of a certain degree. It shouldn't be a 180-degree turn where you unsettle the car. There should be certain safety features incorporated. There should be safety resources there. So there should be ambulances, there should be fire engines, doctors on call. There should be a full safety plan that in case something goes wrong, who will be the first responder, who will move to the doctor. The doctor will then, move through another ambulance. So it sets
That those rules are
that
set.
entire
Okay.
this thing in a sporting. So every format has a sporting regulation
Okay.
and a technical regulation. So the sporting regulation defines every possible eventuality. The resources that the federation gives are the stewards. The stewards use that sporting regulation as their Bible for taking any decision on this format. So everything that is there in the sporting regulations will be incorporated in any of their decision making processes. So if you say that I'm not happy with the decision of the organizer in giving me a penalty, you will raise that query to the steward. The steward will then hear you out, hear the organizer out, look at the regulations and give a decision.
Okay. So
Now, tomorrow you may not like the decision.
yeah.
You say, I don't agree with this decision. I don't agree with the organizer, and I don't agree with the steward also. So you have another recourse. If you don't agree with the steward's decision, you can appeal. And then that same, what should I say,
Query or maybe the
query
request,
or
maybe.
your disagreement will escalate to another panel, which will have a retired judge.
Oh, to that level?
Yeah, it will go to that level,
Oh,
where a retired judge and say two more people of stature, understanding of the sport, will sit and hear you out, hear the steward out, hear the organizer out, and then give a decision on that. Either maintain the same decision or overrule it and give you a. So there is recourse, there is process for every possibility, trying to maintain the level of fairness that there should be in the sport.
if I am a person at a different, I should say, so if I'm a driver, if I'm an event organizer, where should I get or where can I get those structures what you're talking about? Like as a driver, what is expected from me on the racetrack? How to know that? Is there any repository or a website or somewhere which I can get? If I'm today planning to start an event related to motorsports, anyone like autocross, TSD, whatever it is. So where do I find that before even calling FMSCI? I have to be prepared for that.
True.
So how do I find that? Should I have to call somebody at FMSI or it is at a public place? I can just download it and go through it.
So you don't need to call anybody. The website is there. Every regulation is there on the website.
Okay.
So you just need to understand which format you want to be more educated about. And you can go and download the sporting regulations for that format. In addition to that, there is the International Sporting Code, which is there on this website as well as the FIA website. You will
Okay.
get the latest version of the Sporting Code. The Sporting Code again essentially dwells on the fact that it wants everything to have a sense of fairness.
Fairness. Makes sense.
So every aspect of this sport, if you come down to its absolute basic level, there should be some way to create fair play, because it understands that you cannot possibly experience every eventuality. My understanding is limited to what I've read and what I've experienced. But maybe I've not read everything and I have not experienced everything. So there could be a possibility that there is a incident which doesn't feature in all that I've
My
read.
knowledge purview.
Yeah.
Fine.
So there is an core or base logic there in the sporting code which says that everything should be fair. So right from the fact that a resource should not have any affiliations, he should not be tilted towards one party or the other. There should be a clear understanding of conflict of interest. If there is conflict of interest and you don't know about it, it suddenly comes in front of you that you see, अरे ये तो मैं इसको जानता हूँ. So there is a process where you recuse yourself from that. कि नहीं, I will not take a decision on this because tomorrow it could be construed as I favored this person. So you will recuse yourself and put somebody who you think is equally sensible and capable in your place to take that. So if you'll see, there is a lot of thought which has been put in place and the intent is honorable. There are times where, things don't go as per plan because the organization, like any other, is made up of people and individuals. And they're not God, they can't do everything right. There are times when they do, kind of make a mistake. But then, like I said, there is a process. You can escalate that and somebody else will come in place of that person and take a call.
So, with your two thoughts that the people or the stewards are not God, first part, and the other statement that मैं इसको जानता हूँ, is there favoritism when a steward knows the event organizer, so he might be biased in giving decisions towards the event organizer, or maybe if you are driving, I'm just taking you as a person who is driving and participating, and you know the steward on the personal level also. So will he be more inclined towards your side because steward? So those kind of biasness does happen. Is there a possibility?
The answer to your query that whether someone will favor someone, it's a difficult, action for a steward to take.
Okay.
Reason being, the steward is also under the same guidelines as you are. He is also referring to the same sporting regulations that you are referring to. He can only interpret to a certain degree, but the overall umbrella is the same. So he cannot take out a different inference and favor somebody. And if he does, let's say that he's blatant enough to actually go against a regulation and favor somebody, what stops the person from appealing against his decision? अगर आपको लगा कि ये डिसीजन इज डाउनराइट अनफेयर, आप अपील कर दो. अपील करोगे, there's a fee to appeal. अगर आपके आर्ग्यूमेंट में दम है, that appeal will be upheld because it will go to a completely different set of people
Okay.
out of this ecosystem. It will not go to
not
steward
the-
ka friend,
Acha.
friend ka friend. No, it will go to a completely different ecosystem, and those people will sit and hear this from a completely legal standpoint.
Is there any negative marking for the steward? जैसे क्रिकेट में होता है ना कि एम्पायर ने कुछ गलत डिसीजंस दे दिए, तो अगर इफ ही इज अ रेगुलर ऑफेंडर आई शुड से दैट ही इज नॉट बीन एबल टू गिव द राइट जजमेंट ऑन द रेगुलर बेसिस, तो वो थोड़ा सा उसका लेवल डाउन कर देते हैं. ही इज नॉट गिवन अ इंटरनेशनल लेवल एम्पायरिंग एंड कम्स डाउन टू द डोमेस्टिक. तो ऐसा इसमें भी होता है.
I understand what you're trying to say. This, while there is no prescribed principle as such that the steward, see, in all fairness, I have not seen a steward take a unfair call, a blatant unfair call being biased. I haven't seen that happen. And I've been in this space, in the stewarding space for close to now 25 years.
Okay, that's
So I have not seen anything like this happen. But let's say that it does happen. If a steward's decision is annulled by the appellate panel and it's done regularly, then the deputation of that steward by and large be reduced, because अगर बार बार फेडरेशन का एक रिसोर्स जो कि सपोज टू बी अ fair judge to the entire proceeding is failing in whatever capacity, either with intent or with lack of knowledge, the organizer, the steward deputation panel will start to send somebody else,
got it.
send him to a slightly lesser complex event.
Sporting events.
Because see, at the end of the day, he's not a paid resource. He's a voluntary resource. What does he get paid as an honorarium? Some 2,000 rupees or 2,500 rupees.
Okay.
आज की डेट में अगर आप किसी मिस्त्री को बुलाओगे ना, वो उससे ज़्यादा पैसे ले लेगा. And
True.
you're getting a resource who has 20-30 years of experience for free, essentially for free.
Essentially for free.
So
Okay.
it is designed कि आपके पास एक ऐसा रिसोर्स है जिससे आप सलाह मशवरा कर सकते हो, आप उससे पूछ सकते हो कि क्या सही तरीका क्या है ये करने का, and he will guide you. So 99% of the people will work with you.
Got it.
So there is no, so I get to hear this a lot, that a lot of organizers say that you know we don't want to be associated or be under the Federation of Motorsports Clubs of India ka umbrella. We would rather do this on our own.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that comes from a clearly uninformed space. That particular gentleman or organization doesn't realize that what are the possible issues that can come into play when you're running an event. Because in any sport, the base premise is that it should be fair. As
Agreed.
soon as a question is raised on the fairness of this activity, be it timing, be it judgment, your event will take a dive. Because if 20 people start to question that whether this was done in fairness or with malintent, there will be questions asked and fingers raised.
So with this particular thing, when you said that there are a lot of people who are doing events other than in association with FMSCI, now the advantage that I get with FMSCI is just that I get the rule book and a person coming who is helping me organize that event in a proper manner as laid down by FIA. Now, I'm just taking a parallel to with another sports, which is cricket or maybe hockey. Now, if I am associated with BCCI, I'm doing some event and associated with BCCI. So there's a legacy that I get on the panel of BCCI that, okay, Ankit Dua has played for 10 years and these are his achievements, these many runs been done and these are things. Now, why FMSCI is not maintaining that kind of data that, okay, Mr. Raj Kapoor has been with these many years, he has been in on podiums X number of times, first, second, third, and participated, and whatever it is. So, and if I search for your name as motorsports person, so I should be getting a data all about you somewhere as a database.
Valid question. I think
Because
at some point in
yeah,
time, there should be a depository of credentials.
because tomorrow, maybe 5 years down the line, government says, okay, we are considering motorsports as a sports proper. There's no legacy. It's just that word of mouth that you saying about somebody else kind of a thing.
So again, I'll come back to my original statement that while, in a corporate structure, there are experts of every function of a corporate entity heading those different verticals within the corporate. So there will be a sales head, there'll be a marketing head, there'll be a digital head, there'll be a HR. So there are experts in that organization looking after every aspect. We, as a federation, we are actually all ex motorsport athletes or organizers. The organizer is also not a professional event organizer.
Okay.
A professional event organizer works entirely on financial, his entire premise is that I should get a return on my investment. If you'll see an average organizer in this motorsport space, his entire focus is कि भाई event safe होना चाहिए, event as per prescribed norms होना चाहिए, पैसे बन गए अगर तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, नहीं बने bad luck.
Okay.
And 9 times out of 10 कोई पैसे नहीं बनते.
अच्छा ऐसा भी है.
9 times out of the, if it was so, then it's a very simple fact. Every organizer would have had a very robust company structure, Where will you find today? If you see any of these clubs, they're all amateur organizers who are doing an event, but they don't understand how to make money out of it. Otherwise, they would have sold it. If motorsport has been in operation here for close to 60, 70, 80 years, we should have been able to sell an event at, like an event organizer builds up an event like India Bike Week or similar, Sunburn. They scale it up to a point where they can, sell each activity within that event at an astronomical price. Why doesn't motorsport do that? Because it doesn't have the understanding. Its entire ecosystem is built up of people who are basically sportsmen. They're not professional
Got it.
event planners, or they follow the rule book कि रूल बुक में लिखा हुआ है ये होना चाहिए तो ये होगा. दूसरा आदमी जो आएगा फेडरेशन से स्टूअर्ड, वो वही रूल बुक को चेक करेगा, हाँ है
इसने ठीक
अब
किया.
इसने ठीक है. अब वो जो एम्बुलेंस है वो अगर एक जगह पे 20,000 रुपए दिन की मिलती है, दूसरी जगह में 50,000 रुपए की मिलती है, so that is not his lookout.
Not his lookout.
वही ये वाली
Ambulance
होनी
होनी
चाहिए,
चाहिए.
ये वाली
फैसिलिटीज
में
होनी
ये
चाहिए.
होना चाहिए, this
काम
equipment,
खत्म.
this list of medication. So it's not profit centric, the organizational thought. It's safety centric, process centric.
Got it. So this
That's
was
the problem.
that was the discussion about FMSA. So let's dive into. You have been planning and designing the tracks. How do you define a good track?
So my experience and most of my experience application has been in the autocross or gymkhana track design space. And I have, whatever I have learned over the years and read over the years is that the track should be such that it is challenging for all. It should be balanced so that there is opportunity for the expert driver as well as there's opportunity for the fast car. And it should be built in a manner where it is safe, where you should use your experience as a driver to understand that you do not create elements within the track where you are encouraging someone to reach the edge of his capacity in terms of his talent, and he does something stupid, or because where I'm coming from, I'm also the organizer. Now if I create a platform where everybody has great fun, they will remember and they will come back to my event the next time.
Fine.
In addition, I want that visually, when the car is driven hard in that track, it should be dramatic to watch. Because I want to create good content as well. And I want, at the end of the day, everyone to basically say that there wasn't a tilt towards because one of the biggest concerns a fledgling motorsport entrant has is that I'm new. I think I know how to drive my car, but I'm not at the same space as some of the greats which have been doing this over the last 20 years. So I should also have some opportunity.
Okay.
So one tries to balance all of this out, as well as see that, because unlike a racetrack, an autocross track is not built in a, a designated motorsport venue. It's made anyway. It could be made in a football field, in a, in any large ground. And that space could have inherent inbuilt elements. There could be tree, there could be building, there could be pond. So you've got to use all of that.
Okay.
Design your tracks so that you don't harm you when you leave the place as you got it. But it shouldn't be that your track has dangerous elements close to it. Because if you were to lose control in the car, you should not go and hit a large immovable object and hurt yourself. Because if you hurt yourself, A, it will be established that the track is not safe. B, you will halt the proceedings. C, all the safety apparatus will come into play. So, if you want a successful event, now I'm speaking as an organizer, you want it to be as smooth, as uneventful as possible. So that the entire proceedings happen, nobody gets hurt, nothing that you have put into place as a safety apparatus comes into play. Your design should be such कि सब कुछ हो जाए, कुछ भी आपको ज़रूरत ना पड़े, safely शाम को सबको मज़ा भी आना चाहिए, and it should end with a happy note.
Can you share some incident जहाँ पे थोड़ा सा मामला खराब हुआ हो, not because of the you being officiating over there, but in general because you keep hearing stories, you are part of it, so you keep hearing कि उन्होंने ये नहीं किया तो ये हो गया, so this is what होता है, मतलब it does happen.
I don't know if that is the right.
Maybe not naming the event, but you can say that.
See, things, again, what I'm saying is that people in general in the motorsport space, only people who are organizing are ex-athletes. People who have been competing, when they stop competing, then they don't know what to do. So they want to still be a part of the sport. So they organize. And they want other people to experience what they experienced. And that is what brings them to that. Now, intentionally, if you have been an athlete, you will not do anything to cut corners. Because, by and large, you know that you don't want
Obviously.
something
Nobody would.
untoward to happen. So you will not cut corners. But because there is no money in this sport, which is the sad aspect of it. So when there's no money, you are trying to spread that 10 rupees that you have over multiple heads. You know that these are mandatory heads, but you have only 10 rupees to spread. So you're spreading it. अब अगर आपके पास एक्सेस पैसे होते तो आप लेट्स से एक क्रैक मेडिकल इवैक्यूएशन फर्म को आप हायर कर लेते, वो अपना बेस्ट एम्बुलेंसेस ले आते, एक चॉपर ले आते, एक ये ले आते, तो इट वुड लुक वेरी प्रोफेशनल. बट आपके पास यू डोंट हैव दैट मनी, सो यू विल find out from the local hospital, you will get all this equipment. But you don't have a professional organization who's collaborating with you. So there's been no dry runs because you can afford to have dry runs. If it's the Formula One happening, there will be 4 dry runs prior to the event.
Okay.
Running that entire thing as it runs so that everything is chalked out, mapped. The entire safety apparatus will be one that runs with this F1 circus all over the world. So they know exactly what is required. अब आपने अच्छी एम्बुलेंस एक लेके खड़ी कर ली, आपने उस पर एक रेडियो लगा दिया. अब आप एट द मोमेंट ऑफ रिक्वायरमेंट आप उससे कन्वर्स कर रहे हो. अब आपके पास कौन है कन्वर्स करने के लिए? एक पैरामेडिक, एक ड्राइवर. आपका जो स्टेज है वो रात को 1 बजे रन कर रहा है. डॉक्टर हैज gone to sleep
for the day.
No, he's gone to sleep in the ambulance. So when you will initiate a panic call that I want you to react now, you're conversing with a driver.
Okay.
And his intellect is limited. He doesn't understand how to read the map. So at night, he's disoriented. He doesn't know where to go. So that critical, 10 minutes could have been better achieved if you had, say, 2 dry runs. But again, like I'm saying, okay, at the end of the day, a dry run is not a mandatory requirement because
Okay.
in a rally, it's not a spectator stadium event where everything is mapped कि वहाँ पे आपने खड़े होना है, वहाँ से आपने यहाँ आना है, यहाँ से उठा के मेडिकल सेंटर लेके जाना.
ठीक है.
Rally at night is very difficult
Very
to
difficult actually.
envisage, to get your geography of the place. The ambulance has limitations. It cannot go everywhere. So it's a two-wheel drive.
Two-wheel drive,
So
big
it's
size, and
big size, it's got overhang, so it can't go. So it can only traverse so much. So in an ideal scenario, one would have a four-wheel drive ambulance, you would have, but so it's an expectation.
there's a wish list kind of
Yes,
a.
there's a wish list
Got it.
and then there's reality. So you try your level best to match the two to the best of your ability. So it's not as if an organizer is by intent trying to create a scenario which is not optimal. But the harsh reality is it's just like our country. I mean,
Got it.
ideally, you should pick up the phone and say 911 and there should be something that comes to your place
Doorstep
in 3 minutes or 2 minutes. But that doesn't happen. Not in India.
So there are a lot of elements actually I want to talk about going to different directions. So this was a track thing that we were talking about. How do you or how do a person build a good car which is first ready for the rally, second ready for the autocross? TSG I think वो कोई भी चल जाएगी गाड़ी I think.
If you look at it minutely, a rally car can be an autocross car, but not necessarily a great autocross car. An autocross car is designed to run short distances fast. Depending on the kind of surface that event is being run on, if it's on tarmac or concrete, it's a completely different set of requirements where you'll set the car up much lower. Again, if you have some understanding of the size of the space, you will in your mind realize that the straights are not going to be beyond an X distance, so your gear ratios you will set up accordingly where your straights are not more than say 70 meters, 80 meters. Your tire setup, your suspension setup will be very different. If that same autocross is in dirt, maybe your rally car could work. But a rally car will be a completely different car because, again, depending on the rally, suppose it's a cross-country event. If it's a cross-country rally, the car is built to do a 200-kilometer stage in India. If it's international, it's built to run a 400-kilometer stage.
Okay.
So 400 kilometers of continuous bashing requires a completely different kind of a
High speed and
high speed and jumps. And so in India, a rally car is designed to run at an average of about 15-20 kilometers a stage. And it will by and large come out for service after 2 stages. The tracks aren't very rough, but having said that, the suspension that is now running in most rally cars is top notch. So everybody has realized that top notch suspension
that's a must have.
is a must have. So interestingly, a good rally car built for the International Rally Championship is a between a 20 and 30 lakh rupee build.
And which car? Gypsy?
A Polo.
Okay. 20-30 lakhs?
Yeah. Because now this is again, I'll come back to this point that every rally or competition car requires certain safety elements, which is the seat, the seat mount, the belts, the helmet, the gloves, the cage.
A cage.
Now, the cage can be fabricated, but the rest, everything has to be bought from a, an FIA approved source. Now, today, if you just buy those elements, which is seats, helmets, your belts. So, seats at an average about 150 to 200,000.
Okay.
Belts about 100,000. Helmet about, again, 100,000 for two. So, that's about, say, 400,000, something like that.
Yeah, approximately.
And then overalls, your fireproof gear and stuff, and your shoes, another about 100,000, 150,000 rupees. Well, let's say 200,000 for two people. Now, that is the basic minimum cost of safety equipment that is mandatory
For the driver and the navigator.
for the driver and navigator. Now, we pay duty on that. So now, the government or the state should at least make these things duty free. Because this is just safety, and it's not as if this is manufactured in India. So it's not as if you can buy. It is manufactured by a company which has the authorization or mandate from the FIA, which has gone through an X number of tests.
Test and yeah.
So there are a lot of gaps, and it's not as if representations have not been done, but the entire process is so complex, and like I said, I mean, if it's a professional corporate entity, then it has a very robust and well-rounded structure where each of these activities is done by a department. In the case of a privately funded organization, it's very difficult. So the entire secretarial staff in this federation comprises about 5 people, 6 people, and they are perpetually under pressure doing documentation, because the documentation process is so stringent. For if you want to run an event, you need to apply for a permit. For that application, you need to give a lot of information. So when you send that information, which is location, permission, your safety plan, your regulations. So
lot of heads that needs to be covered
so
actually.
every time you're sending something, there's somebody at the secretariat who's going through a checklist, seeing your. So the process is, if you want to run an event, you will send your supplementary regulations. The secretariat will send that document that you have sent to the head of that commission. That commission will peruse through your document and make its recommendations, send it back to you. You will agree to those recommendations. You will incorporate them, send them back. The secretariat will okay it, go through the entire checklist, then issue you a permit.
Okay.
Now, you were somewhere down the line, you asked a question about, just having a set of senior experienced resources as the only takeaway in terms of associating with the federation. That is not the case. I mean, so one of the biggest pluses that you have in terms of association with the FMSCI is that the permit that you get helps you get local permissions, because what it does is it sends a message to the local administration, be it the DMDC, the CGM, that the SP's office, that you have the mandate. And you have the wherewithal in terms of structure, process, resources to run this event. And they give you a local permission. In addition to that, you get an insurance cover.
Okay.
So all your officials as well as your participants are covered with an insurance, which is a huge
support or plus for being part of FMSCI.
if anything untoward was to happen, there is an over-encompassing
Coverage.
insurance cover that you get.
Uh, so being into the sports, organizing the sports, being into the association. How did this thing happen about you being anchor to the automobile show? So what's the story behind that?
Interesting story, actually.
There's a different element. So I have interviewed a lot of people. So that's the element that I can see in you only, and you're writing blogs also and articles also.
This it was actually purely by chance that a friend of mine. So I was familiar with the camera because most of our content generation that used to happen for our event, the rally, I would be the spokesperson, the
Okay.
club spokesperson on camera for that for many years. And this friend of mine said that at that point in time, Star News was still alive and they were doing an auto show and they needed an anchor to, and I hadn't done that ever. So, but the team at Star News was, full of enthusiastic youngsters, and and the producer was a guy called Gopal,
Mm-hmm.
and he was gung ho about it, and he said, "Yeah, come on board, and we'll have fun." And these guys were like seriously fun people, and we got around to shooting, and in a episode or two, I think I was up to speed. So the unique aspect of this auto show was that, unlike most auto shows, it ran a far more what should I say, production heavy process. So even in the mid 2000s, early 2000s, most of the television content on automotive was being filmed very basically. The car would be there in the background, and somebody would just go around it, talk about it, drive it.
Not going too much into the technical
No,
elements.
terms of production,
Okay.
and also, the fact that in 2005-6, I had spent close to about 20 years in the motorsport
Motorsports.
space and in the car build space. So my technical prowess was definitely superior to
Anyone who would have
the
anchored.
competition at that point in time in terms of driving, in terms of. The show was called Top Speed, and we would film most of our reviews with a storyline. So the product that was being reviewed would be integrated into the storyline,
Okay.
and it would be an interesting story with humor, and the review was a part of it. And we eventually landed a best auto show prize also, I think in 2008 or 9. But it was a fun period where we did about 100 odd episodes.
Okay.
And then Star News became ABP News, and
Which of few of the cars that you did, like name few of them?
we did. I think the first episode we did was the Sandstorm. This was a car that was being manufactured in Goa. It was the first and only Indian sports car per se. It was a two-door sports
Okay.
convertible, fiberglass body. It ran a Renault engine.
So you were covering motorsports cars or the general cars?
All cars,
Okay.
not just motorsport cars, all cars. So Sandstorm, and then Honda Accord, and Civic, and all the Marutis. In fact,
Those are the times, I'll say.
Grand Vitara when it came out. I think we kind of wrapped up in 2011. 11 sometime, yeah.
So you have been into this motorsports for quite some time that we have already discussed. So you are from the time when technology was not too high. It was the driver who was driving the car. To vis-a-vis today's time wherein the technology is also high and drivers should be able to control that technology. Now, how do you see this motorsports turning into with the involvement of EV, involvement of hybrids coming in the next 10 years? So, what kind of a change that you see, and how FMCI makes a changes in their rule book also as per these cars? Because I don't think so. Prior to this, there would be any EV rule book that would be there.
So, yes, I mean, from say 30 years back or 40 years back to now, there is a remarkable difference in the kind of machine that you were driving. And you're right in saying that in the 80s and the 90s, most of the rally cars were Indian rally cars were pretty basic uh, in relation to what is happening today. And it was mostly the driver and his
Capabilities and
capabilities,
endurance.
his strategy, his understanding of the machine that would bring him to the podium. Today, it's far more tech heavy. Uh, you're running top end suspension where just the suspension is about 10 lakhs. Whereas in those days, the car that you were driving was, I think, 1.5, 2 lakhs. So that's the
Difference.
comparison in
Yeah.
figures. But at a core level, even today, it is the driver. I mean, yes, the machine is far more superior, engine superior, more power coming out of a small engine, suspension's top notch, build quality is far, far better than what it was. Uh, you know, if you see the safety cages that are built by builders today, they're absolutely bang on in terms of international
Levels,
specs in
finding
terms
the
of fuel.
weak points, making it
And
stronger.
the shell is very strong, very stiff. So the suspension works brilliantly. I mean, but the fact remains that you know technology, when it moves a couple of steps up, it levels the field. So the entire field today, if there are say 50 cars on the grid, at least 20 of them are at par. They have the same spec in terms of suspension, tire, build quality, engine mods, gearbox mods. And yet, uh, there are drivers that are consistently better than others.
Surely.
The difference may be lesser. I mean, earlier, हो सकता था कि in a stage, you'd end up making a minute and a half or two on somebody. आजकल उतना नहीं
Seconds में
होता.
आ
It's
गए.
on seconds. You'll be like consistently making 5 seconds on the other guy or 10 seconds on the other guy. So level of competition's gone up and quality of competitions is good. If you pick up a guy on the top 10 from here and put him in Thailand, put him in Indonesia or Middle East, you'll find that he'll hold his own with other drivers.
Okay.
And the best drivers that we have, the top one or two or three of them, they'll hold their own anywhere. I mean, given a similar machine. So now it's obvious that if you put him into a competition in Europe and he doesn't have the same machine, then yes. But give him the same machine, give him some time to familiarize himself with the machine. He'll be good.
Okay, and what's about the like next 10 years? How do you see? Because you were going by the road book. Now people go by the software.
Yeah. So
हवा कितनी कम है वो भी अब सामने डिस्प्ले पे आ जाता है.
yes, I mean. Technology will be a major factor as we go along. And with the advent of EVs, the power available will be much more because it's far easier to generate the torque in a electrical motor. Uh, so I was fortunate enough to be officiating in a record attempt by this car made by Pininfarina. It's called the Batista,
Okay.
and I was completely shell shocked seeing the power that it had. It had close to 2000 odd bhp,
Wow.
and its acceleration from 0 to 100 was I think 2 seconds or something. So in the sense that even if your head, while you were sitting, if it was 2 inches away from the head restraint,
Mm-hmm.
you were getting a whiplash. That's the kind of acceleration it had.
Okay.
It was doing 360 odd, 56 or 60 kilometers per hour on the track.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
what I'm trying to say is that yes, EVs, the advent of EVs and their entry into the sport will see far more power, and so one will have to gear up for safety. And at the federation in India, we are in the process of understanding this and creating guidelines because uh, safety norms for electric vehicles will be very different, and
It's much more riskier as
exactly.
what you say.
So the fact that the entire battery pack is at the floor level
Mm-hmm.
in a regular road going car, it's not that big a concern.
Mm-hmm.
But in a competition vehicle where it's forever jumping and landing, and the chances of a foreign object hitting the battery pack
Is higher.
is high, and
I'll agree.
any damage to the battery pack eventually results in a thermal runaway, which is next to impossible to contain.
Mm-hmm.
So, so we are currently not allowing electric
EVs to
vehicles to
participate.
compete till we have figured this entire thing out. On
The rules been made around it.
Yeah, that because you can make rules, but they have to be implemented and they have to be enforceable. So if you have a rule which is so complex that somewhere down the line in let's say in Arunachal Pradesh, if you are having an event, you can't incorporate those rules because it's just not possible.
Possible.
So we have to figure this out, that at a base level, all this should be in place before we allow cars to race which have battery packs which are
Getting it.
can be really dangerous at times.
So we come to the end of the podcast. So any advice that you want to give, or you see that today's people who are coming into the motorsports are not following, because so I know you have been, so like I have podcasted few people and they say that if you have to be into motorsports, you start with go-karting. Before that, you have to be into that sim racing. So you people have not gone through that process. So what kind of advice if my kid, my son has to be into motorsports in the future?
No, I would agree. Definitely, improving your hand-eye coordination, playing video games is a definite plus because it by default it teaches you the core technique, and if you have a good sim uh, which has force feed, or if you're lucky enough to have a 2-3 axis simulator, the feedback that you will get and what will teach you is that at X speeds how the car behaves, what is traction like, how to point into a corner, how to apex it. So all of that by default happens automatically when you're playing a good sim racer. So it's a very good tool to
Tool to
use.
use. Okay.
And then subsequently, if you go on to graduate to go karting, today go karting is seriously high tech. and the quality of cards is phenomenally great. I mean, so again, it's a very good next step to take. So if you go down that route of each successive step that you take takes you higher and better, your entry into your first competition car is so much smoother and you're so much better right from the word go.
You matured to the first race.
And unlike us, we were more enthusiasts than serious rallyists as such, because we did not get that much of opportunity to drive the car at that pace and learn. Today, technology can help you do that.
True.
So you should take advantage of it. Absolutely.
Perfect. So thanks for being on the show, and we got a lot of insights from you, and hopefully we'll keep meeting on different events down the line. Thank you, sir. Thanks again.
Thank you for having me on your show, Ankit. And I wish you the best up ahead.
Thank you, sir.